Hi, and welcome to iUniversity's Vertex 102 Licensing. My name is Ingmar, and this is today's class outline. We'll go through Vertex's various licensing editions. We will take a look at how to access the license details in your user account. We'll go through the various processes of online and offline activation and deactivation. And I will also talk about the various differences between having either a system license or a license on a smart dongle like this. And eventually we also will talk about some options for those of you that like to rent out their Vertex product. So without any further ado, let's go to iUniversal.com. To get an idea of the different Vertex license editions, click on the Products page. For the best performance, we recommend a two-system setup consisting of one controller and one playout machine that are both connected in a network session. And splitting the workload of rendering the playback and controlling the playback between two machines also guarantees the best possible user experience. And Vertex basically comes in 3 different license editions with a capacity of cost-effective combinations, thus offering solutions fitting the different needs and budgets of our clients. The Edit Edition, or controller, is restricted to content editing, design, and show control. In our recommended setup, it would also display the user interface. The Player Edition, on the other hand, is restricted to rendering the playback in a scalable number of outputs. These 2 restricted editions come, of course, at a reduced price in comparison to the Suite, which combines both functionalities, offering an all-in-one solution with full flexibility. Now, please allow me to illustrate the following hidden feature. Whenever an unlicensed trial version is connected to a Vertex session with at least one edit or one Suite edition, it auto-upgrades to an edit license for the duration of that session. Alright, let's go to the user account and navigate to Licenses to view a list of all your purchased Vertex products. The second column shows the associated license keys, and I'm sure you can get over the fact that I've pixelated them a little. The third column shows the activation state, followed by the update expiry date, which tells us when we should get a license renewal. Each license can be labeled by the user. I've called the first license Tutorial. Also, it says whether the license is tied to a system or to a dongle, and we can take some actions and look at the details at a later point. The online activation process of a system license is pretty easy. Just copy the license key and switch to the Vertex application. Right now, the license menu is still underlined red, which means we're still in trial mode. Let's change that. Click on the license menu and select System PC License and License Activation. This opens the online license activation dialog where you can paste your license key that you copied earlier and fill in your user account credentials. You can either click on Activate or confirm with Enter, and Vertex will go online to activate your license. And once you've confirmed the status update, the license menu switches from red to green, which means your system is now fully licensed. To activate a dongle license, choose Smart Dongle License from the license menu and click on Dongle Activation. Again, paste your license key into the activation dialog and fill in your user account credentials. This time I'm going to confirm with Enter and wait for the online dongle license activation process to be completed. And here it is! Yay! Once we click OK, the license status switches from red to green, which means that Vertex has processed the dongle readout containing the license info. And now you can take that dongle and plug it into any unlicensed system. However, if the system is already up and running, you need to go to Smart Dongle License and refresh the dongle readout manually, as Vertex only automatically reads out the license info when you start the application. In some cases, your Vertex system cannot go online. No problem. Let me show you how to activate your license offline. Go to the License menu, select System PC License, and select Export License Activation File. Now, after you pasted in your license key and your user account credentials, click Export, and Vertex will ask you where it should save the activation request file and what you want to call it. Let's name it Activation File Vertex 102 and save it to the desktop. After acknowledging Vertex's confirmation, you can take that file from your desktop, save it to a portable drive, and bring it to a computer with internet access. From there, go to a web browser and access your user account. This time we can go to the detailed actions. Yes, we'll find all the license details here. More on all that later. Click on Activate License and Dongle. Click on Select File and find the location of your activation request file. In my case, it's the desktop, but let's pretend I used a USB stick. Click on Open and on Upload, and your user account will respond by generating the actual activation file specifically created for the machine with your computer name. If you click on Download, you also see that the computer name is part of the activation file name. And you can click Save. I'll save it to desktop, but you could probably just go ahead and save it to USB stick directly. Now you can take that portable drive and connect it to your Vertex system. Go to the License menu again and choose this time Import License Activation File from the menu. Next, you'll be prompted to locate that activation file. We'll take the one with our computer name in there and confirm with Open. And that's how you activate your license when you can't go online with your computer. And of course, the same procedure can also be repeated when working with a license on a dongle. When your system is online, deactivation is really a piece of cake. In the example of my dongle license, I just select dongle deactivation and enter my user account credentials, click on deactivate, and now I can move my released license and activate it on either another system or another dongle. The offline deactivation process is pretty much the same. We'll go to Export License Deactivation File, enter our user account credentials before clicking Export and finding a name and a location for the deactivation file. The next step would be taking this deactivation file to a computer that is online. Go to the license details and choose Deactivate License or Dongle. We'll select the upload file. This time is the deactivation file. Click on Open. And as soon as you click Upload, that license's status has been saved as inactive in your user account. Now it is released and can be moved somewhere else. Now, before we move on to the next topic, I really need to emphasize how important it is to deactivate your license before you transfer it somewhere else. Because each system license is tied to its system ID until deactivation. And this becomes especially crucial when we talk about rental options. So what options do you have when you want to rent out your Vertex product? Well, let's say you purchased a license with 6 outputs. However, your customer that you're renting it out to has only needs for 2 outputs. And is also only paying for 2 outputs. In that case, you can shackle Vertex a little bit and limit its number of outputs. Right now it's set to 0, which means that it's unlimited. But as soon as you punch in 2, your customer can only use 2 outputs. Furthermore, you can give your license an additional username and password. And if you want to rent out your product for a specified period of time, activate the user time license and set a date and time for its duration. Next, you could label your license to remind yourself that it's rented out. And also, in the notes field, you can maybe jot down the name of your customer, the super awesome video company that you've rented it to. And once you're done, click on Save. And if you then go back to the list view, you should see that your license label has been changed to rental. All right, let's compare the various pros and cons of using a system license versus a dongle license. When using a system license, it's tied to one system ID, which comes with the benefits of a seamless setup for fixed installations or pre-configured servers in a flight case rack. And unless you misplace the entire rack, there is no real risk of a physical loss for your license. The disadvantage of a system license is that it's tied to just one PC and requires a deactivation to move it to another machine. And some hardware changes on the very same machine, or maybe reinstalling the Windows operating system, will most likely require a license transfer. The dongle, on the other hand, offers a greater flexibility because it's really easy to move between computers. The dongle requires its activation only once, and then it's really just plug and play. Therefore, it's ideal for traveling to project sites where the hardware is already available. The downsides of the dongle license are, well, let's face it, a little dongle, you really need to pay close attention to it, otherwise it might get lost or stolen. And it goes without saying that you need a USB-A port available for your dongle to be plugged in. So we're about to come to the end of Vertex 102. And at this point, I want to give you some troubleshooting advice. For instance, what do we do when the license expires? And what does an expired license mean? I mean, it's not that the product will immediately stop working. No, it just means that any updates that have been released beyond your license expiration date will automatically set your license back to trial mode. But of course, any versions that have been released within the ranges of your expiration date will keep working perpetually. For example, let me walk you through the license renewal process with my dongle. I'll go to the license menu, Smart Dongle License, and take a look at the dongle info. This is where I'll find the expiry date, which says March 30th and 2025. And what I need to do now is contact sales@ioversal.com and order a license renewal. Once they have processed my order, they will update my license expiry date in my user account, and then I can go back to the license menu and select Dongle Update from the Smart Dongle License submenu. Once I entered my user account credentials, I'll click on Update and wait for Vertex to contact my user account and update my dongle license. Getting a renewal for your system license is pretty much the same procedure than with a dongle license. This time only choose System PC license and click on License Update. Let me show you another cool trick. Let's say you have a spare system with a player license that you'd like to use as another edit system through Vertex's cool auto upgrade feature in a network session. In that case, you can reset your Vertex license back to trial mode. But please keep in mind that you need to deactivate your license beforehand. This is because resetting your license to trial will erase any traces of that license on your system. And once this is done, you can't go back and deactivate it because Vertex doesn't know anymore what license to deactivate, right? Therefore, you need to go through the deactivation process first. And then in the second step, you can select Reset License to Trial. The dialog pop-up also explains again that this action cannot be reversed and advises you that all license data will be lost. Furthermore, you have the option of resetting your license only in the current Vertex version or in all versions installed. So what do we do when license data is lost by accident? Or when, for instance, that rental system gets returned with a corrupted hard drive and you have to reinstall the Windows operating system and have no means to deactivate your license from within Vertex because, as mentioned before, that license has been tied to that one system ID, which now got overwritten by the reinstallation of Windows. In rare cases like these, you can consider doing an emergency license reset. Click on your license details and scroll down to the bottom of that page and you'll find the red button. Don't push the red button unless you're in an emergency situation. This will reset your license to a deactivated state or released state. But yeah, be warned to not click that button multiple times within a certain time frame because it definitely will raise a red flag in your user account with the consequence of having to contact tech support and explain your cringe situation. And after the emergency license reset has been performed, your license can be activated again in any way you like. All right, now I've mentioned so many times how a system license is tied to one system ID that I want to show you in the very last troubleshooting tip how to reset that system ID. So why would you want to perform a system ID reset? Let's say you're preparing for a job where 4 Vertex systems are needed. And somebody thought it'd be a smart idea to only install everything once and then generate a disk image and copy that to the 3 remaining systems. And despite the fact that you have activated individual licenses on each system, they still have identical system IDs, which will lead to all sorts of trouble once you connect them to a network session. If you have already activated licenses on systems with identical IDs, you should deactivate each license first, reset the system ID on each computer in the second step, and in the last step, you can go ahead and activate each license in the desired manner. All right, folks, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed this installment of iUversity's Vertex 102, and your Professor Pixelator is going to enjoy his coffee break now. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.